Call to order of Heritage Commission at Keystone Heights on Monday, March 6th, 10:03 a.m. Thank you and welcome, everybody. Roll call. You want to do that?
Yep, I will do that. Carrie Collins here. Christine Arnold.
Here. Deirdre?
Yep.
Here.
Murphy. I'll make sure you say it so it's pronounced correctly. Okay, and at this point in time on our agenda, we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. I believe that we all received an email with the minutes from the January meeting. And
I do have more. I printed some just in case.
do you have some? Do you mind giving one to Christine and myself? And after a brief review, we can decide whether or not to adopt the meetings from the January meeting. This is this one. Okay. Would someone like to make a motion?
I move that we approve the minutes for January 17th, 2023. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so Deirdre made the motion, Christine seconded, and it's a unanimous approval. Okay, at this point in time, we'd like to open it up to the floor for public comment. I see we have our associate members here, and as well as some guests.
Let me hand this out to
Okay, perfect.
these guys. while we're doing that. I had to channel mine. This is for today's picture. Okay. It will be after this meeting. And this is for the upcoming walking tour of homes, which we're going to discuss today. And there's a field trip in April, and then that's with the fourth graders, and then there's another walking tour in May. Okay, that will be the day before Mother's Day. Okay.
And I'm sorry, but we always like to welcome our associate members and spectators. Would you mind introducing yourself?
Yes, I'm Karen Nelson, property owner in downtown Keystone.
Okay, all right, great. Nice to meet you, Karen.
Mary Lou Hall.
Kathy Marie.
Okay. All right, perfect. Perfect.
Welcome, thank you for all being here.
Okay, so no public comments, so we will move on to old business. Deirdre, would you like to speak to the directory project just briefly?
Yes, we had talked about previously purchasing a database so that we could keep all of our current associates as well as business relationships with the downtown core, and then a list of all the historic homes in that period with having their names and emails and phone numbers as a way of contacting easily if we were having an event, so that we could email selectively just those homeowners that might fit into a historic walking tour, or we just wanted to contact the businesses to let them know an event that we might be having that could affect them, where they might have overflow of people in town. And it's my understanding that there's some caveats with that. Is that correct, Christine? And what exactly is the
So instead of actually having to go out and actually purchase the program, we're working with Civic Plus and Unicode, who actually run our website, the city's website, and actually trying to create a directory, just as we have a directory for all the businesses for Keystone Heights, actually have a historic directory that will put all of that information on our website instead of having to have a totally separate website and database. And that way this will be available for everybody in the public as well.
It makes a lot of sense, but would we then need, when we contact these people, would we need to have some kind of rider that would say we were, going to be having their personal email and phone number then on a public platform? Yeah, because it's one thing for us to have it, internally, and I can understand why the city would want to have everything in a municipality, website and all the data stored there. But it then brings some privacy issues into play. How do you think is best to address that? Do we sign a waiver saying,
We'll have to circle back and talk to the city manager about that
okay, and maybe Mr. Commando?
and Mr. Command.
Okay, all right, I'll make a note about getting back with that.
Okay. Was that pretty much it?
That's pretty much it.
Okay, so moving on, we're gonna try and keep rolling because we have a pretty full agenda. And we're gonna talk about the 4th grade field trip, which is coming up on April 6th. So after the meeting, for those that want to stay around and participate, we're gonna walk over to the pavilion and just kind of, plot out kind of logistically what we're thinking for the field trip. So the 4th grade is agreed, and they're on board and super, super excited to coming over from the elementary school. So it ties in that 4th grade is Florida history that they study. And so previously, one of the ideas for the commission had been to incorporate educating the students on the history of Keystone Heights. So our former chairman, Nina, who that was her idea, we're super excited about it, and the school is super excited about it as well. So there's going to be approximately 100, and I'm speaking to all this because I'm kind of spearheaded some of it. There's 110 students and approximately 20 adults between the teachers and the chaperones. So they are all going to walk over from Keystone Heights Elementary, and they anticipate arriving between 9-ish. So I'm thinking 9 to 9:30. Let me pull up, I think. I have a draft itinerary for this, but I'll probably be able to do it from memory. So 9:30. So there are 4 classes, approximately 20 to 25 students each. And then obviously 4 teachers, and then whatever parents, there's probably going to be about 10-ish, 10 to 15 adults. And then that would include the commission, whoever's going to be there. So Christine, are you going to be there that day?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And Deirdre?
Yes.
Maybe, yes, okay.
Yes.
And Janice Getzman had said she'll be out of town for the workshop today, but she could be there to help as well. And so and Kathy, okay, yes, so, and Mary Lou, I'm not sure if you're there that day or not.
I'm aware of the date, I'm gonna wait and see
Okay.
what we decide at the pavilion.
Okay.
Where you might use me.
Okay.
And Christina had forwarded us, the commission, the names of 2 individuals, Mary and Jennifer Gross, from the county that might be able to assist us. They were hoping to come to the workshop today, but the change in our schedule didn't allow them to do that. But I'm in contact with them, and they are going to come up with some maybe ideas for us and suggestions, and they said that they would contact me later in the week.
Okay.
So we have another source
Of information.
and ideas.
Okay, great. So Janice's suggestion, and she had worked at the elementary school, was because of the amount of students, was to separate into the 4 groups and kind of like have them rotate through stations. So They arrive between 9:30, we get them all situated in the pavilion. We could have someone do an introductory kind of overview speech for 15-ish, 20 minutes. And so, we'll have to determine who that would be. And then at that point, they could split up and we could start identifying. So we need to identify what the stations will be and what's going to be presented at each station. So 4 stations, who's going to run a station and who's going to present the information. So at each station, you're going to have 20, 25 kids, and you'll also have a few adults there as well to help you manage. And we're going to need some sort of bell, megahorn or something, because if we're talking, someone's going to be at the beach, maybe someone's at the nature park, maybe someone's here, you know what I mean? We're going to need some sort of timer so that when the 15, 20 minutes is done of the presentation, it's time to switch, they know, you know what I mean? Like the bell at school when you're changing classes.
Could we put something on our cell phones and everybody have that on our cell phone and then we just text each other? Because I don't see how the bell thing is gonna make it all the way over there. I mean, if you've got that many kids at that age group, they're gonna be all squealing and talking and you're not even, no.
Yeah. All right. We probably need a plan A and then a backup.
Yeah.
So we'll need the designation of the stations, the information presented, and then we'll need the order. Whatever group they start, if they start at 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D, where you go from there. So if you start at 1, you go to 2, then you go to 3 and 4. So we need a rotation as
Right.
well.
And we can talk about this more at the workshop as well, because we need to have a timeline as to, how long each station is gonna be and who's gonna be where.
Yeah.
All the logistics of it.
So I had mocked up like a draft itinerary, but to kind of correspond with the timeline we were thinking. So I think it'll be, 15 to 25 minutes or so for
How long
each
do we
station.
have them for how long throughout the day? From 9
I
o'clock
don't think,
till-
I was
Noon?
planning on noon.
Okay.
Just because I think we need a definitive start and we need a definitive end. Because, I know everybody has their schedule too and things to do. And so if they arrive between 9 and by the time they get situated 9:30, we'll have the presentation. So 10 o'clock we can start the stations. If they're 15 minutes each, that would take us to 11, and then they can have lunch, run on the playground and whatnot, and we can finish up by noon. So that gives us some leeway, like if they get there before 9:30, you know what I mean? And then some of the lag time between transitioning between the stations. If they go over 11 and, they might have a little bit of a shorter lunch, 45 minutes instead of the full hour. So, we've got some wiggle room.
Right. A couple things if I may.
Sure, of course.
I wanted to ask Christine, I had put together kind of what we are, like a checkoff list, if you will, of what things have been already completed and what needs to be completed. And since we're crossing a state road with 100 children, I'm wondering if we need to alert the sheriff or have somebody out there to safely handle that, Christina.
Well, we may, or we may, maybe, yeah, we can, I guess.
I mean, is there something city-wise that we're supposed to do that? I mean, is there a rule?
I am not sure, but I can check for you.
Okay,
And if it's an issue, we can just stay on that side. If it becomes like a big thing, you know what I mean? We can moderate.
is that Miss Sue Plaster? Well, hello to you, have a seat.
We can, just ensure, talk to the county sheriff's office and
Okay.
see if maybe one of their,
Deputies could be,
or their patrol people could actually look
Right.
up easily.
I think that would be a good safety.
Yeah, we're supposed to have 3 deputies in the area at all times. So maybe if we Because if we're looking for someone to do something off duty or something, we're gonna have to pay them, and that's a whole separate, you know, they have a secondary employee contract and things like that, but maybe one of the existing deputies in the area already, if we alert them, maybe they can just
Right.
be here.
Right. Christina, can you get back with Carrie and I regarding that? Okay, great. Thank you.
I just want to say something. At the end of Magnolia with the elementary schools on, up to 21, right there where the
Mhm.
lights, they put a lower speed limit during school time. Just saying, a kind of a good place to cross 21.
Right, and we do have an amazing pedestrian crossing now, but it's not here. It, you know, we have it all through town, just not here where a lot of the events are.
But
Oh,
this is
we're
like,
putting
this
it
is
here.
just like 2 houses down from the
Right.
pavilion and the beach and everything. I'm just saying, it's,
No, and that's
Yeah.
definitely what they will use when they walk from the
When they
elementary school.
come here,
Yeah,
but
they
it's
will definitely-
crossing over to the park.
to the nature
is-
park,
to the
like right
nature
here
park
from
is
the
what I'm
beach. So
concerned
we'll
about.
start at the
Oh, you go from
pavilion.
here to the park?
Yes,
Oh, I thought you just come, okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, but that is what they will use when they come from the elementary school. They'll
so
definitely use
there's
that
no crossing
crosswalk.
Right, City Hall.
from here, from City Hall.
Okay.
Okay, so my understanding was that the water could be provided by the city.
There's
Perfect.
water there.
Yay.
And then also, Christina, I think the city said something about having some type of memento that we would not have to take out of our budget, that you already had something in place.
That'd be great.
Here you go, Sue. I have an agenda for you.
I have one right here.
I've got it.
Once you go.
There's one right there.
That's where it's gonna go.
I will check into that.
Okay. Well, on that note, does anyone here have an idea for a potential memento or souvenir for the students if it doesn't work out that the city has something that they can provide? Because we would need the idea, we would need a cost estimate so that we can determine whether or not it fits within our budget. Because we're on a pretty, we just have a definitive budget for the rest of the year. And it's okay if you don't.
I took a poll of my.
Nina?
coworkers and I didn't come up with anything.
Well, of course, a few things swirl in my mind, which I could talk about later. First of all, I think maybe a trip to the dollar store will kind of perk some ideas in my brain anyway on things that you know how they always have just oddball things there
Mhm.
that are $1?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that'd be perfect, you know? So I will certainly take that on to go and look and see if I can find something. A second idea I have, which we need to talk about your stations, and once you determine what station is gonna do what. You know, with Agnes Lawrence, she used to take pies for services at the house for chiropractic services, and she would take a pie in exchange. And I actually had thought about getting some of those little little pies that you see, either like McDonald's has or you can buy them, that they get to have with their lunch. You know, once they pass through that booth, say somebody is talking about that situation, you know, or doing services like that, and connecting the pie to being, you know, for the medical services. It's just like a little,
Yeah.
something inexpensive, but something like, oh, that was kind of interesting, but
Mhm.
instead of money, right? I don't know, it's just two ideas that I have, but I can certainly go see at the dollar store and see if I can come up with something that I can think, you know, so they remember the experience of being here, you know, going through.
Right.
Thinking about agricultural connection, right, because it was really identified for that, and we all know about the oranges here. So, I don't know, something like that might be relative for them to take and connect.
I'd like to see something too along the line of Keystone.
Yeah,
And
like a
how
key or-
something like a
If we can
keystone
find
of the
something like
emblem of, you know, the
Right.
keystone itself and why that's significant, given, you know, the founding fathers came from Pennsylvania and that's the Keystone State. So,
I mean, it'd be really
Maybe.
cute if we could find something like that sounds silly, but like a pencil that's got the little emblem on the pencil. You know,
Right.
it's kind of made out of wood or something. I mean, you know, it sounds kind of crazy, but.
No, that
it
would
might
be really-
cool, really, I mean, I don't know.
Well, we have
I
the
understand.
time, we have the time to order something like that if we, you know what I mean, found,
Okay.
yeah.
I wonder,
Okay.
excuse me,
Mhm.
I was, when she mentioned that pencil, you know, Oriental Trader, if you send them
I was thinking of that.
logos and everything, and they're very inexpensive, we do have enough time to do something like that.
If we could even write on it Keystone Heights, you know,
That's a good
and
one.
all,
Or Oriental.
yeah, Oriental Trading Company, they're great.
Especially connected to the school or to the
Right.
experience. That's a great idea. It might be inexpensive too. You know,
Mhm.
you're not talking a couple $100
Yeah.
for some kind of amendment.
Well, I think we kind of need to decide also like what we want to, what dollar amount we're going to assign to this memento if it cannot be provided by the city. And I guess we kind of need, that will lead us to another discussion of the Mother's Day, but what the budget's going to be for that. Because I believe we have 1,500, is that right? You have-
Currently, is that the
Is
amount?
It's around 18, I think.
Is 18?
18. Oh, that
Okay, all right,
makes-
that's
that
better.
changes.
Okay.
It's not bad, it's pretty good.
No,
Okay.
I mean, it is, it's great.
Okay.
It's what it is. So what do you think for the Mother's Day? Just round ball numbers
I'd have to go back and look at the notes
from last year.
from last year.
Was it over 1,500?
No,
Okay,
but it was definitely over 1,000,
okay, but not over 15.
right?
Okay, so it sounds like we could spend up to $300 if we needed to.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, so we can kind of make the final decisions later on what it would actually be, and then go ahead and spend the money. Does someone want to make a motion about how much we could potentially spend on these mementos for the fourth grade field trip?
Okay, can you give me an exact figure?
300.
300.
300? Okay. I make a motion that we can allocate $300 out of the budget for the mementos for the field trip.
And that also, that we have the decision-making authority within that 300 to decide specifically what it is, but
Right.
it will all fall under 300.
Okay.
All right.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So that's unanimous, that we can spend up to $300 on the mementos, and we can make the decisions on the details of what the actual memento is and what the design on it is and whatnot without having to come back before the commission. Okay, so some of the other, thank you so much, Deirdre, for doing this as well with the spreadsheet and getting us organized.
Volunteers.
So we can finalize after the meeting, when we go to the pavilion, we can talk more in detail about what's going to be at the station, who's going to be at which station, and what information. And as far as that goes at the workshop itself. So I think that pretty much takes care of the field trip, unless anyone has anything else to add or has a question. So, I think that's all good, so we can move on to new business.
We need to find someone who would like to become the new Heritage Commission Chair. I did see out on the Keystone Heights marquee that we are taking applications for the Heritage Commission, but in addition, we specifically need a new chairperson. Carrie and I have basically are co-chairing currently, but this was for a limited time just because Nina has run for mayor and is now going to be our new mayor. So all good there, but we do now have a void, and we need someone to step up in the community or among ourselves to become the new chairperson.
And I know Miss Helen isn't here today, but I think she's expressed previously that she doesn't
That's
have
not one.
the time
Right.
as well. But I did happen to notice on the agenda tonight for tonight, so city council meeting is also tonight at 6 o'clock, and I happened to notice on the agenda that there were 2 applications for the
good.
commission.
Oh, great.
So, anyway, so hopefully tonight we will have a minimum of 1, if not 2, new commissioners. And maybe one of those persons might be interested. So this would be the only, we can have up to 7. So we're at 4, that would put us at 6. Just so we're aware, the quorum then changes to 4. So if it stays at 5, we're at 3. If it goes to 6, we're at 4. If it goes to 7, we're still at 4.
Correct.
So we could even add one more up to 7 to keep the same 4 quorum. But if it goes over 5 to 6, it increases by 1. So, I mean, that's just, all good things to just be knowledgeable about and for situational awareness. Okay, it looks like the next item on our agenda is Miss Christina Meeks, an update on CRA Business Grant and Heritage Commission's role in the grant process.
Actually, Madam Chairman, if that's okay, I would like to take that one.
Okay, yes, it is very much okay.
So, thank you very much. The CRA, the Community Redevelopment Agency, has decided to reopen or redevelop the facade grant. This first took place in 2004. I think, Ms. Deirdre, you were a part of that. We have added a couple of things to it. We are currently accepting applications, and we do have quite a few. I'm very impressed. Application period closes on the 18th of March, and it's going to be for our current sitting council members who have asked for this, a really quick turnaround time. What the city is asking for from the Heritage Commission is to have a representative review the following week, and we'll set up with Ms. Christina Minks and myself those applications and then present back to the Heritage Commission, maybe having a special meeting the last week of the month for recommendations to the agency for an April turnaround. We'll see how well that goes, how many applications we are able to get in this short turnaround time. We might look at, I'll be honest with you, the agency will probably look at awarding and then extending that period out, just because I don't know that they're going to have enough applications to fulfill the $50,000 that is set aside within that budget, but it'll be a good starting point from that. So at this time, the city is requesting one individual from the Heritage Commission to help review those applications the week after the 18th, and then a special commission meeting from the Heritage the last week of March to fulfill the oh my gosh, my head just went to the meeting that I'm about to have to make recommendations to the agency for their April 3rd meeting, I believe it is.
In the last week of March for a special meeting. So that would be the 27th.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, if I recall, in the past, when we had the grants, one of the reasons that the Heritage Commission was involved was that because the city is giving basically grant money, they're matching it with individual businesses. The idea was so that they just didn't go out and paint a building lime green or purple or gator orange and blue, and it became, an eyesore within the city. The idea was to create some continuity with style and with keeping in the historic nature of our community. And that's how we kind of got involved in the past. I just wanted to give everybody a little background on why we were even involved in this.
And the Heritage Commission, so beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and we have found this out through Taco Bell purple and Popeye's orange and some other colors that you'll see. And so with this being city's money, we want to make sure that it's something that the Heritage Commission, who worked very hard on putting design standards or design recommendations in place, that those are upholded. And we can do that because we're allowing city money. So that's why we are requesting one individual from the Heritage Commission to help go through those applications, help rank that, and then we'll present that to the entire commission the week of the 27th for recommendation, and then it will go to council, or the agency, my apologies, on April 3rd.
Okay, so
Okay.
would that need to be then on our agenda for our next meeting?
Would
Or
it
is that
be
something we-
possible, because April 3rd, I was thinking about another, a workshop to finalize the details of the April 6th field trip. So I was thinking April, Would it be possible for us that to be addressed at that day,
So
for
what
that evening?
what the council is asking, or what the city is asking from the Heritage Commission, is that one individual from the Heritage Commission be appointed today to sit
Okay.
down with staff the week of March 20th.
27th or 20th?
The week of March 20th to review the applications, and then that way it can be
Okay.
presented to the Heritage Commission as a whole
Okay,
the week of the 27th for formal recommendation to the agency for approval or denial or adjustments, whatever those applications may look like. Does that timeline make?
yes,
Okay.
yes, I understand better now, thanks. The only day I could potentially assist on, well, it can't be me, it's because you need something March 20th, or before then. You need the person to review the applications before then.
For
Yeah.
starting March 20th, and
Yeah.
then we'll work with whomever those dates to sit down and do application reviews.
Yeah.
And that'll be a working conversation between staff and the one member of Heritage. That way there's no sunshine regulations that need to be
Mhm.
followed. We'll take those in the back and then put our findings in front of the Heritage Commission the following week.
And within the application itself, will the individual business or entity that's applying, would they have listed on the application, like, what they're doing exactly? And what they envision for their
So-
business?
We will have all the information as part of the application. Any additional information we'll be able to seek out. So that we're
Okay.
hoping for as close to the 20th as possible. That way we have the capability of finding additional information where need be.
Do you want to take it?
Do
You're more
you?
qualified. If you can't do it, I will, but you are more qualified.
Why do you say that?
Because
You
you've
know,
already worked with all those businesses downtown.
I
You do
know,
the
that
colors,
was a
you,
long,
well, you still, I know, you got all that stuff.
I do.
I can pick a number.
I do, I have
I-
everything, all my notes from,
I will tell
yes.
you, we are very fortunate to have any of you ladies be able to work with
This is
us.
true, absolutely. Okay, I'll do it.
Okay, perfect. And so we will work with you directly as far as scheduling the review of the applications.
Yes.
And then if it's possible, if we can set a meeting date for the week of the 27th for the Heritage Commission, just to make a formal recommendation to council.
Okay, so that would be, it would have to be on Monday night, correct?
Well,
Or
it would be
would they-
a Heritage Commission meeting.
Oh,
So whichever date, if it's Monday or Tuesday, Wednesday, 7 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock at night, whatever works for the commission, we can make that happen.
well, we had originally chosen to move our March meeting to today so
Sure.
that we could accomplish everything. So what you're saying is we could have another Heritage Commission meeting
This-
this month.
This would be specifically for the grant
for
review.
Grant review.
And then if there's anything additional that you wanted to add to a special
Okay.
a special council meeting, a special Heritage Commission, as long as it
So we
was
would still
on the
need a
agenda.
quorum for that.
That's correct.
So would you be available? When would you be available to have that meeting?
I'm out of town the 12th through the 18th, this next.
Okay. So how about the following week?
Following week, I'm here.
Okay.
I could do, as far as having a quorum for the council, I could do Friday the 31st, time to be determined, but you just need it by end of business on Friday, right, for the agenda?
Well, we have to put council packets together, our agency, there's too many groups. We have to put agency packets together and have them submitted prior to close of business on Friday. So we're
Okay.
looking at the 27th really through the 29th or the
Okay.
30th.
Okay.
Any of those days work.
That works for you?
What day?
Well, just pick one, it doesn't matter, 27, 28, 29.
What about the 29th?
Okay.
I'm good. What time?
You want to do 10?
10 o'clock is
Okay.
fine.
And just for our understanding, Are the applications this evening for the city council meeting, or when they're approved on the spot? If they are approved or whatnot, and this person, I mean, is it at that moment that they become members of the Heritage Commission? Or how does that work as far as?
Yes. So for this evening, you do have 2 applications for your vacant position. As soon as council decides whom they're going to appoint, then they will become a member of the Heritage Commission.
Okay.
Because it's filling a vacant seat.
Okay. So you said the 29th at 10 o'clock?
I thought I said
Okay.
28th.
28th, I'm sorry. 28th at 10 o'clock?
Tuesday, the 28th at 10?
Right.
Yes. Okay.
And then will the applicants for this evening be here? Do they have to show up, or do they not have to?
The
show up?
application
council-
for the Heritage Commission
Right.
appointments? Okay. They should be here, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, great.
And so you're only filling one seat?
From my understanding, there's only 1 vacancy. Is that correct, Ms. Meeks? Yes.
Okay.
So there's 1 vacancy that's on the commission. There's 2 applications.
Okay. Okay.
So,
I mean, because we have the leeway to have up to 7. So we have 5 to 7 members though. So, but I guess you're just filling the 1 vacancy tonight.
well, yeah, so there's 1 vacancy currently, and then if
Right.
there's going to add an additional 1, then we'll look at what that term is, because there's seats, they're 3-year, 1, 2, and 3-year, no, 3-year appointments, they're all 3-year appointments. So we'll look at where that term is. This seat that's being fulfilled tonight is going to finish up the term that was vacated, because she will be swearing in as mayor. So,
Okay.
and then we can keep the additional application for next month as soon as we find out when that term cycle.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
makes sense.
Okay, so Deirdre will be the appointed Heritage Commission member, and March 28th at 10 o'clock.
Perfect, thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is the Mother's Day Tour of Homes, Saturday, May 13th, 2023.
Thank you, Lynn. So on the tour of homes, I put together another walking tour. One of the things that we really need to decide today is what homes we're going to have on the tour. And while we would normally be talking about this at the April meeting, because of where the April commission meeting falls and where when the walking tour is actually being held, unless we work some of this out now, we won't have the decisions made in time in order to have the walking tour. So we had a walking tour last year. It was very successful, but it was successful because we invited a lot of the neighbors and we invited the businesses downtown, and we put a lot of effort into it. And one of the things that we have, even though, ordering the roses and getting the pavilion, reserved, is easy. Clyde's hopefully will be, working with us again to put together the food that we had at the pavilion. It's just really getting to all of the people who attended previously, contacting them. And then before that, though, we really need to determine which homes are going to be on the tour. Do we want the same homes? I think we need to mix it up a little bit so that we're providing the public with something a little different than just the same old walking tour, because we're not going inside the homes. We're just, it's an outside tour. We do have, to our advantage this year, we have all the signs already made up. We just need to get them out of storage and then put them in front of the homes that we're going to have on tour. Get the wording out to the community that we are meeting at the pavilion. It'll be the day before Mother's Day, so a lot of people hopefully will be in town. And this will be a nice thing to do on, a Saturday morning. But what's your ideas as far as the homes that we might want to have on tour? And feel free to jump in and suggest, I'm thinking your new house.
Yeah, I mean, it's just walking, right? And
Right.
I thought, if I remember correctly, it was maybe thinking about how to condense the area so that the walking was not as strenuous, was that right?
Right,
Okay.
right.
Well, I wasn't here, so I don't know if you.
Yeah, I wasn't able to participate either last year.
Trying to think of what we had. Here's our homes
You know,
list.
y'all, and I'll just kind of think about what I see as when we were putting it all together last year. Really, with tennis courts and all in the center of the park, we do have a sprinkling of properties that fit the criteria for sure.
Right,
And even down Lakeview, a lot of homes that are either in the progress, or have completed, right?
right,
That are just amazing. And some of them are from even Addie and M's house on the corner is just gorgeous. But it's one of the ranch homes that's 50 years and older. So, you know, we could take that criteria and just look at the ones 50 and older. And then I did do a map that shows which ones those houses are on the
Mhm.
map and which ones are not. And I could do a combination to show which ones are in that geographic area. And then y'all just pick which ones you think we ought to do. They're literally walking distance within a mile or less, right?
yeah, and that's what we
So it would
need.
be a whole different layout than we've ever done, which I think is a great idea.
Yeah, I think we need new properties and new homes for people to explore, because it also gives a sense that we have more than the original 5. You know, it's not just the
yeah.
same, it's not just the same
And
homes.
many of these are like beautiful.
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, Nina, if you would email us that list, then the commission can just decide among our, can we do that, Christina? Can we?
Am I allowed to do that?
I am so sorry.
Not that, I mean, Nina can email us, that's not a problem. I'm just wondering, can we then make the decision about which houses we want on the tour
Does that
Okay.
make sense, Kristen?
outside of the meeting?
My husband just put it in the
Yeah.
map and it kind
Okay.
of.
I
he's got a
think
nice
it's
template thing. And it
Probably
just zeroes in
my
on those
list is.
houses in that street area.
Just like the details
And we have, all we do is
of
mix the
the
years,
memento or
right?
whatnot,
So
like
it's
the
just
little
one
details, we
geographic
don't have to, we just
spot.
need the big, we need
And
the
then this house
finances,
is populated,
fact,
so
we're
they
gonna
kind
do
of
it,
have
are we
an
gonna be on
idea
city
how to
property,
map it
you know, and
Right.
then.
Perfect, okay.
And then the other thing is how many homes we want to have. I think we need to have at least 5 or 6 to make it like, it seems like it's a program, but over 5 or 6 becomes unwieldy, I think,
The block
you know.
behind us has 5 alone, and then the 2 right at the
Right.
end of the road right there.
So
that's
we
Yeah.
could
7.
do.
I think
we
taking
could do
lessons
those.
learned from last year, you
Mhm.
know, maybe like you're condensing it, making it like a circle or a loop,
Yeah.
or, you know,
And when it
start,
falls in that circle.
finish,
Right.
yeah.
And y'all just feel like you all vote on what's doable.
Right. Then with that, we would then need to update our flyer with those pictures of those homes and be reaching out to those individuals if we don't already have their emails and phone numbers, knock on their door, let them know what's going on, that even though it's not gonna be an inside tour, we're still gonna have a sign in front of their house, and all these people will be walking by, and you would be kind of like a little thrown if you just didn't have any contact with the Heritage Commission to say that we're doing this. So we really do need, we want them to be buying in on this whole idea and to show up to the event,
Right. And it'll be different than we did before.
right? So, all right, with that said, we will wait for Nina's email.
Yeah, and I'll.
Excellent,
I'll
thank you.
work on this.
Christine, did you have a comment?
Also in, my meetings with the Clay County Tourism, with the director Kimberly, Morgan, I mentioned your guys' Mother's Day event, they're really interested. So make sure, we get all the information, and if we have any flyers or anything, I can submit it to the Explore Clay website, and they'll actually put it as an event on the main Clay County website.
Oh, great.
Okay, and the same with the Clay County Preservation Board, which I am on that commission. And I definitely make everyone know at those meetings that District 4 is having an event, whether it's a student event, just to let them know what's going on in this corner of Clay County. But on the historic walking tour last year, I invited everyone to attend, just because we want to have representation within the county as well as just our own little community, that they know that we are an active Heritage Commission.
And this is an event that, will the city sends in their annual events happening in the city to the Explore Plate, to the tourism department. This is actually one of the events, so even the emergency management knows about it, so.
Great, great, thank you. The next item on the agenda is the budget for 2023-24. I think we had do we have a workshop on that?
I don't think we have
But he
anything
did-
scheduled.
I
What
don't
is the
think-
deadline that we would need to have to the council for consideration, Christina, for an increased budget or for a budget in general for the Heritage Commission?
I want to say May,
Okay.
because I know we start putting together amendments and everything.
Okay.
But I'll double check, I'll make note to
Okay,
double check for that.
Yeah, we're gonna need a workshop on that. I'd like to
We-
see us get to follow through with that program and, an app for the phone for a walking
Yeah,
tour,
that would
self-guided
be
walking
really-
tour.
really
Mhm.
good. When can you meet to have a workshop on that?
Well, maybe we can, piggyback off of like we're doing today, like a meeting and then, do the workshop after.
Okay, that sounds good to me. Yeah, because then I already have the time slotted,
Yeah.
so.
If y'all want to if we're going to meet April 3rd to talk about finalize the field trip details, we could
Right.
just piggyback off of that
Perfect.
and do the budget. How's that
Okay,
sound?
that sounds good.
Okay.
April 3rd. Okay. All right. So this will be April 3rd. The next item on the agenda is the Florida League of Cities invite. Councilman Tony Brown gave me a call and just wanted to confirm that we will, the commission will be invited to the Florida League of Cities dinners whenever there is, when we are hosting. And so that will be, right now, we don't know where the venue is, correct?
We'll be here, it'll be at the beach.
It's gonna be at the beach, at the pavilion. Oh,
May 18th.
okay. May 18th. Okay, when I spoke with Tony, he did not have a time at that point, May 18th.
We had to, due to the moto cert coming in and
Right.
Day Day, normally the city actually hosts the dinner in April, but we actually switched it with Atlantic Beach this week, or this year, so we could host it in May instead of April, due to Clay Day in Tallahassee being on
Right.
that time, and there was just so many events that we couldn't facilitate everything.
Yeah.
Great, okay,
There are
great.
limits.
May 18th. Okay, so the city will then send out a formal invite. Okay, great. That's what Tony said, so, good. The next item on the agenda is future projects, and that would include a Keystone Heights Historic Homes meet and greet, a Christmas tour of homes after the Christmas parade, and then a host gathering of other heritage commissions from, say, Melrose or Middleburg, Green Cove Springs, Stark, Placa. And then, of course, the Centennial 2025 event preparation. Carrie and I both are directors on Friends of Keystone Heights, which is an organization that is kind of spearheading the Centennial 2025 kind of birthday, if you will, for Keystone. And what we're doing as that organization is really reaching out to all of the kind of, we're like the umbrella that's going to be reaching out to all the different organizations, churches within the community, businesses, and kind of just figuring out who's going to be doing what each month to celebrate our history in Keystone. So that's going to be the entire year of 2025 with a kickoff event, hopefully either at the airport or at the pavilion. So stay tuned for all of that. And then Christine, your idea of having that app, we don't want to forget
Right.
about that.
I'm gonna be in Savannah next week, and I'm gonna check with them and see what they use. They use a good one, I'll get the particulars.
Okay, great. And what we're talking about here is that, so right now we have our little map, and we will continue to have a map, because I think it's nice to have something that you can look at. But everyone has a smartphone. And if we can have an app with this information on our phone, and not only will it have the location and the address of the property, but then a little bit of a history as you can read about it, or, you know, as you pass the homes. And it would tell you a little bit about that individual property and how it folds into our whole history as a group, collectively in Keystone. So that would be a really nice step up, if you will. Any other suggestions?
No?
On the Mother's Day, back to, because you were just talking about the little map, a thought that we talked about last year was potential, just because I think if people see activity over the park, and you had a nice big banner that we hung on the fence,
Mm-hmm.
is to possibly recruit some vendors that would maybe sell items for Mother's Day gifts, because it is the day before, right? We're just trying to get that feel, like, oh, something's going on here, and it is Mother's Day weekend, right?
Right.
So I don't know, I just kind of thought, if we found maybe one or two vendors who could, you know, sell items, could be candles, it could be a t-shirt, whatever. And then maybe even a food truck that's there for them to grab
Mhm.
something to eat. Maybe we have that dessert thing, but I think it just kind of takes it up, you know, we're kind of like babies trying to grow a little bit with the event. And it just makes it a little bigger, right?
Right.
And it's gonna be the map, the way you're planning it.
It's going to be all in that whole little
It's
area.
gonna draw people in,
Yeah.
yeah. And this will be people who might be just driving through town and go, oh, look at this, so cute, look, they're over here doing something, let's see what's going on. Because it is free.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a suggestion.
Yeah.
No, it's a great idea, Nina. Christina, do you have a list of everyone that participates, say, at the 4th of July event or at some of the other events where we have vendors?
I have a list of over 350 vendors.
Okay, so, can,
As well as probably close to almost 50 different food trucks. So we can definitely kind of pick and choose.
I don't need a 300-page list. So, are there
I can sure go through and pick out ones that I think would
appropriate for Mother's Day?
For Mother's
Yeah.
Day, and I mean, I don't think.
I think Chick-fil-A's out there now, so.
The town blacksmith is an amazing vendor, but I don't think he's really necessary for Mother's Day.
Right, right.
So I can go through that and I can send you guys.
Oh, that would be perfect. Yeah, if you could do that before our next meeting, that would be great. Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it says we have our next meeting April 18th, 2023. I'm wondering, should we consolidate all this down to April 3rd? And
I would agree.
yeah, do the meeting and then we'll finalize the field trip details and talk budget. How's that sound?
That
Yes.
sounds good.
Okay. I don't
think we need to make a motion to do that. I think we can just change the date of the meeting. So the next meeting will be April 3rd, 2023, 10 a.m. here we'll start, and then we will, when it's done, we will just go down to the pavilion like we're going to do today. Talk turkey. So I think that covers everything unless there's anything for the good of the order. All right. So 10:58. Meeting adjourned.